la prisión, Wilson Manyoma, Borbona.
Oh, face. Masters of None podcast. Episode what?
192.
There you go. Masters of None podcast, episode 192. We appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. It is 7:05 on this beautiful Tuesday. It is myself, Justin, incredible co-host Berto. Get a look at this pretty man. Look at that. You kidding me?
See me?
You know, so Master None Podcast, episode 192. We appreciate everybody that's jumping into the chat live and that's going to tune in live right here. Also simulcasting on Kick and Twitch at the same time. That's what simulcast means. We appreciate everybody tuning into the live episodes and participating in the chat. It's our favorite part. But if you can't do that, make sure that you guys check us out afterwards on all your favorite audio podcast listening platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and anywhere that you guys enjoy your favorite audio podcasts. And if you don't find us on your favorite audio podcast listening platform, Berto about to let you know.
Join a Discord. Join a Discord and harass us until we place the podcast on your obscure podcast listening platform.
Bah, 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 bah. So with that said, first of all, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to fix Berto's camera.
Yo, what's up, guys?
There it is.
Thank you for fixing my camera. Dude, I got to say something.
What you got? Say it. Let the people know.
Since we're going to, I know what we usually start with. It's the weekends, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know what's been kicking my ass since this weekend?
Allergies.
Dude, my allergies. You can hear it you can hear how nasally I am right
Let's
now.
let the people see.
And you can see my eyes tearing. I'm tearing because my allergies are just kicking my ass. Only one that's doing me this hard is DraftKings on Fight Night Weekend. That's the only person that's getting this much of me.
Pause.
You know what I'm saying?
Pause.
No, but dude, my allergies have been killing me. Are you affected by seasonal allergies? Man, I sound like a man who likes other men when I say that.
Yeah, nah, man. I see the thing with the allergies is that it's
I just gotta not be a
we
pussy.
kind of just drag you guys along now. Back in the day, we would have left you on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't have survived this long.
Yeah. Nah, but I say,
At birth, you would have just threw me in the river.
yeah, we would have left you on when we lost a wagon wheel, we'd have left you back there when we changed it.
Yeah, 100%. That's what they do. Newborns, they just blow a little bit of pollen in their
Yeah.
face.
Exactly.
And if you don't survive that, it wasn't meant for you. Life was too tough, kid.
Yeah, but no, I'm bullshitting. I definitely do get some allergies from time to time. I get occasional allergies, kind of seasonal, but not this season.
Yeah.
You might get it now. I don't.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
get it a
I
little
get it
different
during
time,
the
so.
fall. You know me.
Yeah.
Like 2 times a year.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I remember Justin saying to me, going into the fall season, I remember it was like summer into fall, and Justin came into the office and said to me one day, he goes, "Do you just not want to like feel good? You don't like feeling like normal and shit like that? You just like feeling like shit all the time? You should take something." He was like, you just like sounding like that. And it was like my baseline at the point because we were like 3 weeks into the fall, pollen's everywhere. I sound like I sound now, like somebody's holding my nose.
Yeah.
And I was just used to it. And like I think I took like Sudafed. I tried a bunch of allergy medicines. Like they weren't necessarily working for me. Maybe I wasn't doing it right. But I did try Sudafed, and man, that shit cleared me up like some of Colombia's finest Bam Bam. That shit had me feeling amazing, and then I was like, you know what? Justin's right. Drugs are the way to go.
It's not that drugs are the way to go. It's just if there's a solution for something and plus we're trying to talk for a living.
Yeah.
Your voice has to be listenable.
Yeah, nobody
You know
wants
what
to
I'm
hear me
saying?
sound like this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing you guys a disservice tonight because of my allergies. And I knew about this morning. This is like when people show up late to work and they're like, yo, fucking St. Patty's Day traffic, bro. It's like, motherfucker, you knew it was going to be St. Patty's Day since last week.
Yeah.
I knew that I had allergy. You're right, man. I'm fucking up. I apologize to the people.
Yeah, but I know that you prefer to feel a little better. So I was like, why not just try to take something?
Yeah.
Try to help you out a little bit. We got any suggestions in the chat? Anybody saying what's up? What do we got?
Oh, yeah, I got you, man. Yo, that Dave said thanks for the journal. Listen, I went to Justin's house. Everybody knows I use this, right? This was a gift from a friend of mine who backpacked through Asia. There was a small underage Asian boy who put this book together for him for not many dollars. I'm most certainly positive he underpaid and didn't tip. But what he did with this book is he brought it back for me. And I usually write things I want to talk about in here. And I went to Justin's house because we were brainstorming for this new thing we're going to have coming out that nobody could know about yet.
On the channel.
And I was at Justin's house so we could brainstorm and do what we got to do. And he pulls out a book. And I was like, damn, that's a nice ass book. Where'd you get that notebook from? And Justin says to me,
yeah, I was just like, actually, this is Coast Life. This is One Off Customs, which is One Off Customs is a customized, it's a one-of-one clothing upcycling business. And I know the designer. He's going to be a guest on the podcast. He resides in Denver, but he's going to come out here. We're going to get him here. One by hook or by crook.
Yeah.
We're going to get him here.
Or
but
hooker.
he makes incredible stuff. If you've ever seen previous episodes of the podcast, when I wore this this Biggie sweatshirt, it's a Notorious B.I.G. and it's the one where he's got the Coogee sweater and like the long coat, and it's fire. So if anybody were to if anybody was curious about it, if anyone was curious about where I got that, it's from him. It's his design. So you could check that out. But yeah, so Berto went and purchased another design of his that's based on his artwork, and it was a journal. Yeah.
yeah, I had to get the journal because
Yeah.
I'm getting to the end of mine, and I need something jiggy like Justin.
That's right. But it was dope, man. It was dope. Like, cause it was so organic. That's how you know it's fire. You come in, somebody comes in, sees something that you have, likes it, and is like, "Where'd you get this? I want one."
That's exactly what happened. I was like, yo, that's hard. What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Because it gave me like a Basquiat, I don't know if it's Basquiat or
Basquiat, yeah.
Basquiat vibe to it. I hope that's not insulting, but it was like I thought it was cool. It's like it was right up my alley.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking fire.
We actually have a piece of his original artwork here that we are going to frame. Be careful with that thing. I'm trying to cash in that $10 million.
show it. You could put it
But
on the camera.
yeah. So if you take a look, if you go up, it should adjust. It's the glare. Try to tilt it a little bit. There you go, right there. Yeah. So if anybody looks like that's original artwork, that's an original piece. You can buy prints on the website. We're gonna link it down in the description. It's One Off Customs, and on Redbubble you can get these type of designs on. You can get these type of designs on all kinds of merch that you want, and yeah, so that's where he went and copped the
Get your journal, get your spiral notebook, get your fucking T-shirt, get your print, everything, everything, man, everything. With that being said, I believe it's time. Before we go any further, you have a good weekend, man? Everything good with you?
I had a good weekend, man. I mean, I had a really good weekend.
Who?
DraftKings. Because DraftKings, once again, was completely successful in draining my entire DraftKings account on the UFC card. That's why I don't have to claim anything on taxes, because I never win.
I wonder, I can't wait to see, undoubtedly, in a couple of years, we're going to start seeing statistics of all the money that people have been losing on all these new betting apps. These guys are killing it, bro. This is why companies like Stake can have websites like Kick and like not make any money but still thrive because they're making so much money off of people gambling with them.
Of course.
There's got to be like a crazy influx in young adults losing money on these gambling applications who would have never like even gambled. Like I wonder, I'm not even, this is going to sound crazy, I'm not too concerned about the addictions going up, right? We all got to get our hands dirty sometimes. If you don't know how to get out the mud. No, I'm kidding. But that's not really what I'm worried about. That's not really what I'm interested to see. Like, not like the addiction rate. I'm super curious to see just how much money people are losing who wouldn't even have like bet back in the day.
People that wouldn't have gotten in the car, driven to Atlantic City, and stood at the craps table.
Yeah, dude, guys like me and you.
Yeah, exactly.
Before these betting apps,
Yeah.
we never bet on these fights.
I went to Atlantic City twice and Vegas once in my life.
Yeah.
And that was the only times I gambled.
Dude, I went to Atlantic City once. I think I had like $100 limit for myself too.
Well, gambled officially. I've been a lot of dice games.
I was just gonna say CeeLo
You know?
doesn't count.
I've been a lot of dice games. It's
Yeah.
a little different.
Even those games of CeeLo that I played personally are very low dollar.
Yes.
Single dollar games sometimes.
If that.
You know?
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm just curious, like, and I don't know if that's like an impossible like statistic to generate, but like individuals who wouldn't, you know, who didn't traditionally gamble, who are now gambling every weekend, trying to hit these ridiculous parlays.
Yeah. With that, I mean, you're going to gather that data from surveys. You're not going to pull that from the app because it's impossible to know if they ever gambled before. But that's an interesting statistic. I'm sure somebody will start polling users.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Because it's got to be ridiculous. It's got to be like, it's almost like one of those things where you say to yourself, like, fuck, should we have kept this illegal? Like, should we have, I'm trying my best, guys. You guys see me out there. I'm trying. Should we have kept this illegal? Should we have like, and I'm not one of these guys that's like a fan of like pulling things back, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know, gambling, maybe you should keep this dirty stuff out of our state. Is this too filthy for us?
I mean, you know how you can gauge this. You know what the best statistic would be? The best statistic would be divorce rates.
Yeah, I got.
That's how you're going to tell how many people weren't gambling before and started gambling now.
Yeah.
See the spike. Watch, you're going to see when it went live in New York, the spike in divorces. That's you're going to see.
It's so funny because you really just hear about all the. You never hear people losing. Nobody ever tells you when they lost, but you hear all the stories about people hitting. Like every once in a while, somebody, you know. John Perkins, he's somebody who's been on the podcast.
Yes, that's right.
Perks of Fitness. Go check him out on YouTube. But he's a perfect example. Like a couple months ago, he posted this crazy parlay that he hit, and he had won a couple $100. I'm like, damn, that's sick. And it's like it's telling me, I'm like, man, maybe I should put a parlay in tonight. See how I do. But I'm sure for that one he won, you know, there's 30 other ones that he didn't post.
Yeah.
You know, and it's nothing against him. I'm just making it show, doing an example.
You know, one of the things that's great that you guys actually pointed this out. So I always watch the fights. Berto and I watch every fight together because we're combat sports degenerates. I don't care if it's two people, mud wrestling behind a C-town.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch.
We'll watch
be
it.
like, who's winning this right now? Who's sober, who's not? All right, what do you got?
At the end, we'll make the decision if there's no refs there.
Exactly. So, from jiu-jitsu to MMA to boxing, it doesn't matter. You put it on, I'm like, Car-jitsu, I'm with it.
Yeah. The guys with their arms in the tire.
Yeah,
you see
bro.
those guys grappling with their arms in the tire?
You gotta keep your arm like hooked around the tire, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what we're saying. I mean, scrapyard, whatever.
Everything.
Where the hell? Why did I say this?
We were talking about
Oh,
gambling.
gambling. So. But why the hell was I talking about it?
We were talking about gambling and betting on fights, and we watch every single event, and now it's become a thing where we're betting on every event. That's where I'm assuming you're going.
So, that's exactly where I'm going. So now on these apps, you can do these groups. So we have groups, like everybody that's there watching the fight, we're all in a group. So when you make a bet, everybody else sees your bet. If you run a crazy parlay and somebody likes it, you could just piggyback and just jump on the parlay. Yeah. So that's what we do. And we do it often, but we don't go crazy. We bet here and there. It's never crazy bets. It's just to keep it fun and interesting and make you want to watch the fights that you may not have wanted to watch before. It's like, well, I got $5 on this. That's going to make me $200 if this underdog wins.
Yeah, we're talking about like sub $30 nights. Like we're not talking about hundreds of dollars. I don't even advise that. I don't even think that's dumb.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Don't do that. Like if you want to keep it fun, just make modest bets. So because we do it so often together, and there's been times that, I've hit good, nice parlays. I've hit nice bets, and those are the only ones that I'm ever vocal about. Yeah. So there's a stat on the DraftKings app that allows you, and this is not sponsored content, but DraftKings, cut the check if you'd like. There's an app on there that allows you to see kind of your percentage, your where you're at in terms of winning, your plus or minus since you started with the app, like your lifetime percentage of winning. Yeah. And it was assumed that I had the best percentage. I thought I did.
Who was this assumed by?
By everyone in the room. I got the vibe. You were like, I thought I did worse than this. I'm like, I was worse than everybody in the room.
I definitely thought I had lost more money.
Yeah, you
For
thought
sure.
you lost more. I thought I won more.
Yeah.
I was like, I smoked everybody. Juan was like, I know all of y'all lost.
Yeah, I thought, dude, I'm not even fronting. When I seen it, I felt like I had more money to bet. Like, you know that girl math?
Yeah.
I felt like,
Yeah.
I didn't lose that much money. I could throw more money into this application.
Of course. The only reason I'm throwing more in is because I want to, not because I don't have enough to bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this 38 cents would take me far if I hit the right parlay.
I knew I was fucking up last weekend when I put like a 37 cents like parlay in that was gonna make me like $1,000. And
Bro,
I was like,
I did it because I was down to, listen, I did not have a good night on Saturday. So I'm going to eventually maybe put a few more bucks in there. We'll see. But it's down to zero. And my final bet was 93 cents. And I ran a wild parlay. The wildest parlay, I think it would have made me like $600.
my fighters didn't just have to win; they had to win in a certain round in a certain method. That's how crazy my parlay was.
My parlay ended requiring a parachute guy, a base jumper to land in the octagon. I was like, here it is. This is gonna be the one. Tonight's the night. It's been a while. We haven't had somebody parachute into an event in years.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna have.
Yeah, we're
And,
due for that.
We're due.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be. You know, this is the big one. Go big or go home.
Yeah,
and
Vince
I went
McMahon's
home.
got to come there and put fucking Diddy through a table.
Exactly. Diddy, get to table.
Yeah, they're gonna battle to see who's the biggest pervert.
So that's DraftKings. So that's the weekend.
Yeah, that's our weekend. All right, now we can get into the stories.
Yeah. And happy St. Patty's Day to everybody.
Yeah.
Hopefully you drank responsibly. Hopefully you bailed out only the people you actually like.
Let me ask you a question.
What do you got?
St. Patty's Day is just one day because I feel like the parades are like one day there's a parade in this town, the next day there's a parade over here. What's going on with that?
That's their Puerto Rican Day parade.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So St. Patty's Day is a thing, and then there's also the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah.
Separate, not the same.
No, not the same.
Okay.
It's like Puerto Rico, you know.
Well, we don't have a day. We just have a parade.
Which we're going to be in talks about that. I'm in a lobby for Puerto Rico to have a day.
Yeah. Do we have a saint?
You know what I'm saying? A saint? Do we need? Because it's St. Patty's Day.
Because they're not just getting
St.
that because they're
Patrick.
Irish. You know, they didn't get that from the family.
We got a lot of saints. We'll be able to figure something out. Somebody at least that we could draw some kind of line back to Puerto Rico somehow.
Yeah. Maybe we could put if anything, Mark Anthony.
Yep. Saint Hector Lavoe.
Yeah.
Saint Lavoe.
You know, I'm just.
Saint Hector, we're going to make a day.
Yeah. Can you still be a saint? Can they?
think
Can
so.
they make? Are they still making saints?
I think so. Isn't it like knighting?
I don't know. You got to be dead, right?
That's a really good question.
Yeah. What's the pre-qualifications? I see everybody worried about the president, but who are these
think so.
motherfuckers sneaking into sainthood? You know?
And I want to know when the protests are going to start for Tupac. That man is being held back from sainthood.
Yeah. There's a lot of people I feel like that should be on the ballot, and I don't know if they are.
No, that's yeah.
And what's the qualifications?
Well, apparently, I think being deceased is a qualification, right? Mother Teresa wasn't a saint until she passed, right?
Is she the last one? She's the last one to come home?
She's the one that pops out like in my life.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah. I don't know. And do you even got to be from the same set? Like, can Gandhi be a saint? Because he wasn't a Christian, right?
Damn. I bet they want to like trade for him if they could.
If they're hiding pedos, they better let this guy be a saint. I'm not supposed to say that?
They could trade for him.
Yeah, they could trade him. And listen, all right, I guess if I can't say that joke, I'm not going to say it. Next one. I was going to say something. I want you guys to know, what I was going to say was going to be hilarious and inappropriate. But the way Justin looked at me when I exposed the Catholic Church, it's not the religion, you know? People, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. You know, it's in their book. We forgive, but we don't forget. People don't forget. Similar to the way the man in New York who had his alligator taken from his house won't forget. There was a gentleman in New York who owned an alligator. If you're on the Discord, then you guys seen the article. I posted it there. I thought it was super interesting. Essentially, this gentleman had bought an alligator at like one of those like reptile trade shows, brought it home, and had been keeping it for over 30 years. Over 30 years, he had this alligator. He had built an enclosure for it. People in the neighborhood knew this alligator.
This in an apartment?
No, it was in a home. He had the alligator had its own enclosure with like a little swimming pool. It was 750 pounds. It was listen, he kept this thing for 30 plus years. It sounds like he was taking care of it.
And this was where?
New York.
This was in New York.
In New York.
Suburban New York?
Yeah, I think it's upstate. I know it's upstate. And
Wow.
for people who don't know, if you live past the Bronx, it's upstate. So just in case people are wondering, it's like, what do you mean? What does he mean upstate New York? Post Bronx, upstate. Yonkers, upstate.
That's it.
Westchester, upstate.
Roslyn, upstate.
Upstate. Yeah.
Damn, that's wild. So he had it in an enclosure. They go and they take it. He had it for 30 years.
30 plus years. And he kept renewing his license because this guy was doing it the right way.
So he had a license to have this exotic animal.
Yeah. And then one year they just didn't renew his license because they had changed the regulations.
So what did he need? That's a crazy question. Forget that.
It's like, I'm glad you asked.
I'm like, what gender was the alligator?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
So they changed the regulation. So I guess he just kept it. He's like, this is my alligator. I had it for 30 years.
Yeah. What are they
You're
going to
gonna
do?
change
They're
the
going to come
regulations?
get it?
Come get this T-Rex out my backyard.
Yeah. Well, they did. With guns a-blazing. Came in there, kicked in the door, and took his gator.
They kicked the door, like they raided his house for
They
it?
raided his house, yeah.
They kicked it in?
I don't know if they knocked.
I'm picturing it looking crazy. They put darts in that gator?
Dude, you want me to tell you what I think happened?
Yes, paint the picture. What do we imagine
All right.
happened at that gate, the seizure of that gator?
This is what I believe happened.
Let's hear it.
All right?
'Cause
I want
think
you
believe it
guys.
too.
You know that Denzel movie? You remember Training Day?
Of course.
Remember when they're sitting in the house with the dude and they're digging up the kitchen and he's sitting in that chair and they're just staring at him?
Yep.
I want you to think of that dude sitting in the chair. That's what that guy's doing. He's sitting in the chair. But to the right of him, right, there is an alligator. Alligator's wearing one of those like harnesses, like a chest harness, right?
Like a pit bull?
Yeah, exactly. Spike collar, leather chest harness on the gator, right? No collar though, it's just a handle. And this dude's just sitting there petting this thing. And he's been sitting in front of this door for days because he knew that they were coming. Obviously, he owns a gator. This guy's trained. He knows what's going on. They kick in the door. The second they kick in the door, gator goes in, grabs the first guy. Second guy, this guy hip tosses. Not to the third or fourth guy is it till they're able to apprehend this man and his gator.
Damn. So at that point,
It was a struggle. Yeah, it was a struggle for a little bit, but they outmuscled him.
They did.
Yeah,
Damn.
the gator wasn't harmed. Now I don't know what happened. They went in. I'm sure they knocked on this dude's door and just went in and grabbed the gator. I'm sure
What
they
he
tranked
said is
it.
exactly what happened. I was there.
I'm sure they tranked it.
I know the guy.
Because they brought it out on like that same fucking. They brought him out in that same thing they bring like dolphins. You ever see somebody transferring a dolphin?
Yeah, when they have it in like that hammock.
Yeah, that's exactly what they brought it out
And
in.
they lift it up in that hammock. It's the same thing that they used to drop that that cow in there in Jurassic Park. The thing's like mirror, and they got
Bingo.
it in this hammock, and they just bring it and put it down.
Exactly. Yeah, they brought it out in a rubber hammock and
There
put
you
it into
go.
a back of a van.
Look at that.
Yeah, somebody walked it. Somebody's got to sit back there with that thing. Can you imagine driving through New York City with a dinosaur in the back, and you got to be the guy that makes sure this thing doesn't lose its mind?
Dude, it's one of those things like there's two movies with that kind of scene. You remember it's I think Tommy Boy with David Spade and Chris Farley,
Okay.
where they have the deer in the back of his like dad's nice truck or a nice like convertible or whatever. Thing wakes up in the back seat, tears it apart. Same thing as in The Hangover with the tiger, with Mike Tyson's tiger.
Mike
Remember?
Tyson's tiger,
it wakes up in the back of that old school car that he had, and it wakes up and tears the car apart. Imagine that gator waking up in the back of that car.
Yeah, I hope that guy's got an electrical tape in
While
his
they're-
pocket.
Bro, that thing start death rolling. Take
That's
your
a-
piece right off.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that tail. That tail will take you out.
Yeah. And dude, it's not even. Have you ever seen them do that death roll
Yeah.
where they just grab something and they just roll
Are
until
you
it comes
crazy?
off?
Yeah. My entire jiu-jitsu game is based off of that. I just sit around till people take my back, and then I just start.
They
do
just
that.
start rolling.
It never works. No, but yeah, they're just. It's a 750-pound dinosaur. This thing is enormous. Like,
Dude,
if
those things have
the
honestly,
claws.
they've been around since like prehistoric times.
The fact that they could just close their mouth, the fact that dudes are just wrestling these things is crazy.
Nah, not everybody successfully wrestles one of them things. You ever see that video of that old man that tries to like get on that thing? He like throws his little beige jacket over it. You know that old man colored jacket? They all have the same color jacket and shoes. It's like that weird beige
It's
color.
like a cardigan.
Yeah, it's like you would paint your living room that color. It's like that kind of thing. And he just goes over with his little windbreaker and tries to like throw it over the gator. I know from his confidence, I know that at one time in his life, he used to get down like that.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly what I thought.
Yeah, he threw his jacket over there and he was like, I'm going to get this gator like I used to wrangle him when I was 17. And then he throws that jacket over him and then he's moving in slow motion. I'm like, dude, you're about to get ragged. He's like, I can hear him like, ah. Then grabs his arm, starts shaking him real quick and just lets him off. And he's like, nah. And he's like holding his arm. I'm like,
That's the
dude.
luckiest day of that dude's life.
Dude, I'm like, you're lucky a little geriatric arm is anywhere near your body.
Yeah.
It should have been over there.
He said, "You're lucky
know?
you're saltier than most humans."
Yeah, right? That
He
thing
just
got,
didn't want you.
they got hypertension.
You want to talk about the Boeing birds and the danger associated with flying Boeing? Flying on these Boeing planes?
Bro, I don't know. I don't know if... I'm not sure. Are we ready to let the people know? Everybody's getting ready. What time? What's today's date?
You're going to
March
expose the
19th.
truth about Boeing?
Nah, I think the world already knows about Boeing. I think that's the problem. Like the cat's out of the bag because of a whistleblower. Mr. John Bennett.
Is that the whistleblower?
Yeah. He's let's see. So, all right. So we'll get into this story because this is a pretty serious story if you're a person that travels. I mean, you travel a lot.
That was my thing.
You know?
And I'm going to give my perspective. I'll let you, what up, Saif? I'll let you, you do, tell us what you got, and then I'll give you like my
Barnett,
perspective.
excuse me. John Barnett. But go ahead. Yeah, so, all right. So long story short, if you have not been following the Boeing story, which is a company that produces airplanes, like commercial airliners and stuff like that, they have been under fire recently because they're, number one, everybody has a video camera in their pocket. So people are starting to record weird things that are occurring mid-flight, turbulence, malfunctions of equipment. And it's been found that because of this whistleblower, this man, John Barnett, he came out and exposed some things about the issues with safety regulations and proper production protocol during the process of making these planes. And it's certain planes. I don't want everybody to be scared. It's not all planes. It's certain planes. It's that 737 MAX seems to be the issue. And there's also issues with the 787, some models there. But so there are specific models of these planes that are having issues. And because of the whistleblower, we know what those issues are attributed to. So they've been cutting corners, allegedly, during the process. They've been noted to use dish soap as lubricant to put parts into things and stuff like that. They found to be using credit cards to check the seals on doors to see if like the door
That's
is
how
sealed.
they're checking tolerances?
They're using credit cards and stuff. And what was crazy was was a journalist went undercover into a Boeing production plant. So he went in and he was asking staff members that worked there that put the planes together if they would fly on these planes. And all of them were like, hell no. Saying crazy things like, hell no. Maybe if you got a death wish, if you're trying to die, you can ride on this.
Where are they building these planes? What country?
This particular place was South Carolina.
Okay.
So there's that. And then there were also other issues. If anybody saw any of the viral videos that were all across the internet.
The door flying off?
Yeah, exactly. In 2024, the door plug failed, causing the door to open mid-flight. And then when they investigated, they found that allegedly 4 bolts were missing from the door that had not been put in. So, and then when they went to investigate, Boeing is saying they accidentally overrided the footage, the security footage of the plant during repairs to that door. So they're saying
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so they're saying that they can't find the footage, that it's been overwritten. So they're having trouble now to, kind of proving if there was anything going on. So another thing that was crazy was with the 737 MAX, a former manager, he was a senior manager of this particular form of plane, the 737, like production of that program, right? He used to work there. So back in March, he got off the plane when he found out it was a 737 MAX. It was supposed to be a different plane, and he intentionally booked the flight with a different plane. But then when he got on the plane, he found out through reading like the aircraft information that's in the seat in front of you that they ended up having to switch the planes out for whatever reason. So this one was replaced with a 737 MAX. This guy gets off the plane. He's a senior manager that used to oversee production and safety in this particular program.
So he knows that when he was there, he was performing poorly, and as a result, these poorly performing machines came out of this place.
Well, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't say that because, but that's a good point because that's a good question.
He's a manager there.
Exactly. So, so it reflects on the manager.
Yeah, of course.
So I would think that people watching this would probably have a similar thought process. So what he says is that he had brought this to administration previously about the unsafe production environment and corners were being cut. And he recommended shutting down the program and he was ignored. They said no. So he ended up eventually leaving, and now he's the executive director of the Foundation for Aviation Safety, which is a not-for-profit company that he oversees that kind of investigates this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And helps out and educates.
I think that, so who's the governing agency that oversees like the production of aircrafts and like make sure, is it the FAA? Are they the guys that
I think so, yes.
Okay,
they found multiple deficiencies once he was a whistleblower on this. They found a multitude, over a dozen.
Okay.
Over a dozen issues, allegedly.
Yeah. I mean, and when you look for things, you're going to find them, right?
Yeah, of course. But these are the kind of things that as a traveler, I don't want to hear.
Oh,
that people are
1,000%.
cutting corners and producing the aircraft I'm going to fly in. It's a little different. I'd rather you cut the corners on the wheels on my car, you know what I'm saying, than cut it on the length of the wings of a plane or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. While I do believe, because when I first started reading all the Boeing stuff, I'm like, oh, this is exactly what happens with a lot of these like stories, right? We end up getting like a little just a little string of fabric, and then they start tugging at it, and more starts coming out, right? Because it's just like when you're looking for stuff, you're gonna find stuff. And I said to myself, I was like, well, you know what? I don't know if anybody's died yet because of these, and they're not falling out of the skies, and they probably have had significantly more successful flights than flights with issues. But now that I'm hearing they're using soap as lubricant, I don't know if I feel that way anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that also is a good point. I mean, they did have a deadly crash in 2018 and another one in 2019.
They did? Okay, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, two. And they've had multiple emergency landings.
And they're related, were those deadly crashes, were they related to like failures?
Admittedly, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I highly doubt that the pilots fell asleep, but I would imagine it was probably some kind of issue. I don't know.
Yeah, like what else would it have been, right?
Yeah. So there's that. There was another one last Monday, a Chilean flight that all of a sudden nosedived in the air for no reason and then straightened out, and 50 people got hurt, bust their heads open. It was people like laid out getting like...
Was that the video you sent me?
No. I sent you a video of another MAX flight that the co-pilot straight up comes over the airways and starts explaining to people how to brace for impact.
Yeah, I seen that.
How to put your seatbelt on, put your head like near your... It was like some old 1912 bomb drill.
None of those things will save you in a
None
plane
of them.
crash. Not a single one. They said one of them was like, put your wrist over wrist on top of the chair, right? On the chair in front of you, and then put your forehead against your wrist like this. What? The other guys who were in, they said, oh, if you're in row 1 through 4, we got another thing for you. Don't do the wrist thing. They said, grab both your hands underneath your legs, right? Like this, which I'm decently flexible, and I can't really even do this well. I can only imagine like how like an older man like did first class. And then they said, put your head between your legs. And I was like, oh, this is a fucking joke. And it wasn't. And then you start hearing them over the loudspeaker, brace, brace, brace. I'm like, I don't know.
You know the most important component of that, in my opinion,
What?
in terms of like trying to keep everybody calm, was the brainwashing repetitive words. You notice how they kept saying, brace, brace, brace. They were trying to engage your brain and listening so that people wouldn't panic, because none of that shit is going to save you. The plane is crashing. The plane is crashing. I don't care if you brace your ass over your mouth. I don't care what kind of way you contort your body. The plane is crashing.
Yeah, they
We're
might as
all
well
gonna
say,
die.
everybody quick, lick your elbow.
Exactly.
Lick your elbow.
Whoever licks your elbow first, you survive.
Yeah.
Like, no. Everybody's dead. Like, you're not going to come on with
Yeah,
that.
you're not an Argentinian soccer team.
No.
This isn't the story that's going to be written. But you know what? Saying that, I wonder if I've ever flown on these planes and been perfectly fine.
I mean, it's very possible you have, but just, knowing this is concerning. I mean, the same way that if you had a car that was recalled because the brakes don't work, you'd like to know that.
Yeah, but I wonder how
You know what I'm saying?
concerning this is. Like, I wonder if I'm always skeptical of like the stuff we get fed, and I wonder if this is like as concerning as it's being presented.
I mean, this is a very high revenue generating company.
Yeah. Oh, they're huge. Especially,
Yeah.
I think they're like if you look at like the price. You ever seen the price of Boeing stock?
No, not recently. No, is it high?
I'm pretty sure it's very high. Spaz can tell us, but I'm pretty sure Boeing is like one of those like big publicly traded companies.
Yeah. See, the manager that I was explaining that got off the plane, now that he works for this other company and he oversees kind of safety and investigates this kind of or surveys it independently, he was saying that the CEO of the company, it was a big deal when he would come down to the production plant. He was up in Virginia in an office, like an executive suite. Meanwhile, the production facility was in South Carolina. So when he would show up, it was so rare that he would come there. It was like royalty was coming. So everybody be on their best behavior, and it's, he said that more so he was more wrapped up in meetings about the stock price in Virginia than he was about the production and the safety of passengers in South Carolina. I was but again, that was an opinion. That wasn't like a factual statement. That was what he felt about it. But go ahead. What do you got?
No, Spaz just said, to be fair, and this is another thing I was going to say. This is to the comment where you said that the employees said that they would never fly on that plane. And we had this conversation earlier where you said that I said, yeah, but that's like everybody who works at every company. Spaz just said, to be fair, I said the same thing about eating McDonald's when I worked there. I still eat McNuggies. And then he referred back to the current stock price is $180 a share, but it peaked at $440. So I guess it must be down right now. I don't know when it was at $440, but that is a true statement. It's difficult to ask people. Even you go to like you could go to a hospital and ask the employees at like a good hospital, like, hey, would you bring your family here? And they'd be like, no. I know this place. You could go anywhere, and like people usually, because they work there, they're so intimate with it. They know all the things they do bad. They know all they know they're checking door clearances with credit cards.
Yeah, that's the exact thing.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Yeah.
So they know all the shortcuts they're taking.
Yeah.
But the big kind of curveball in this situation, or not curveball, but to me, like the kind of final fact that leads me to believe that this story possibly has weight or holds water is the whistleblower, Mr. John Barnett, that came out with a lot of this stuff. He had been retired. He worked there for 30 years,
Oh.
involved in like safety and stuff like that. So after this, he was found dead in his truck with a self-inflicted gunshot wound in South Carolina.
Self-inflicted gunshot wound to the back of his head.
To his head. I don't know exactly where it was, but just the timing was weird. He was already retired. He was, like he's kind of out of the field. He did have, prior to all this, he had a pending some kind of lawsuit against Boeing for some kind of retaliation or something like that for him bringing these things to light. And then they retaliated against him. They probably gave him that deal, kind of pushed him out, made him retire, something like that. I don't know. I don't know the details of that part. But he was suing them for some kind of retaliation. And then he comes out with this, and then they, they find him this way in his truck in South Carolina. So I'm like, just a lot of weird things. I mean, tires falling off the plane, but that's not really Boeing. That's the maintenance guys. You know what I mean? Somebody didn't use the right impact gun to put the wheel on. So that, I wouldn't chalk that up to them. That's like negligent repair.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, I wonder, does the FAA, I'm sure they do have like a pre-inspection before these things are going into production. Like there needs to be, I'm sure there is, like some kind of, like you can't, before you could drive a car, it goes through an inspection. It has to meet certain criteria. Like I'm sure that the planes go through a similar process. Now, they can't check every screw on every door, but I'm sure there's like a safety inspection. Maybe things need to change from that perspective in order to make these companies more responsible for what they need to do. Soap as lubricant is crazy on like mechanical things, because if something needs lubricant, right? Usually you would use like a grease or oil, but soap, like detergent, like eats away at grease and oil. So it's like, man, that thing's going to break soon, right? Like the soap isn't going to be there forever. It's going to be metal on dry metal. That's crazy. But I have seen soap used as a lubricant back in my day, back in the day when I used to work with my uncle. He was an electrician. I used to work for my uncle. He was an electrician. And when we used to pull wire, he would I remember one time we didn't have anything, and he was like, go to the supermarket and get me some soap. And we just put like soap on the wire and like pulled it through the pipes. Not the same as like building an airplane.
That's what they call it now, soap on the wire.
So yeah, that's why soap on the wire. Yeah, not enough spit in the wire. I'm glad we got into that into the Boeing conversation.
Yeah, man.
We can move on to our next topic of discussion.
You want to get into some things like what's going on in music and entertainment? How about this? What are you streaming right now? What are you watching on
I was watching
platforms?
True Detectives. You recommended it to me last week.
Yeah, which I think is pretty good.
I said to myself, you know what? Everybody knows Justin talked about True Detectives last week. I'm going to make some time this week to watch it, so when we come back to the podcast, I can tell him about it. And I watched a couple. I watched a trailer first, and I was like, man, this looks like, this kind of seems like it's giving me Dallas Buyers Club vibe because, Matthew McConaughey looks so thin, right? And I'm like, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, man, this seems familiar. Dude, it wasn't until like episode 4 where I was like, this is interesting. I've already watched this. I've seen this already. What's happening? I've watched this already. And I realized I did see that show. It must have been a show I was watching with my girl and just kept falling asleep through every episode, and I was kind of like just halfway aware of what was going on. But I'm like episode 4, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this. I've watched the show already.
Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't really that memorable to you then. Did you like it at least? What did you think?
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I must have just been falling asleep through the first time I watched it. But I'm going to keep watching it because I don't really remember it. But it's things happening in the show, and I'm like, oh, as I watch it, I remember it.
Yeah, typically when I have that kind of experience, it ends up being something like I was falling asleep, or I was distracted, I was having a conversation, or Netflix and chill.
Yeah, you never know. When did this show come out?
I don't know. What do you think? You think your first daughter was conceived during
I was
True
just going to
Detective?
say, I might have been in the process of making a human. I might have been human making. Was this 4 years ago?
Probably. We're on season 3.
Yep. I was human making at that time. Sorry.
Very possible.
That's why I don't remember it.
There you go.
Yep.
So Matthew McConaughey got you where you were trying to go.
Well, that wink in the gun and does it for me.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, nothing makes me shoot rope like that man's voice. That's funny. Yo,
So, yeah, I'm watching something too.
what are you watching?
I watched the first 3 episodes of this docuseries that's about it's on Hulu.
Okay.
And it's about this weird scenario just off campus, a college campus in New York. It was called Stolen Youth.
Okay.
And so the premise of it was that there were these students, they were living together or whatever. One of the students that was living there, her dad ends up getting released from prison. The whole time she's building up his character or whatever. And then she said he's getting out of jail. So she says he's getting out of jail. He gets out and then apparently doesn't have anywhere to go. So they kind of just ease into it, but he ends up staying on the couch, where they're living with all these,
With the students?
with the students. And he ends up like staying there. He's an older guy. They said he gave like a whole dad vibe. This guy ends up converting this whole group into like a sex cult.
What?
Yo, he's like pimping some of them and stuff. Yo, it was wild. And they were scared of him. The dudes, they were nerdy college guys, young, like 19 years old. And this dude had just gotten out of jail. Plus, he was very firm. Yo, there's videos. He would videotape confessionals of them, making them, agree and admit to damaging his property and stuff like that. Then he was extorting their families out of money.
What?
For the damaged property that their kids did and stuff like that. It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. All I thought was like, who are these kids? I was like, me and my homies, if you came here, I'm like, yo, we would have laughed at these dudes. We would have jumped this guy.
So, yo, get your
I'd be
dad,
like-
bro.
I'd be like,
Go
yo, get your dad before we stomp him out.
Yeah.
Like,
Get
what
your
are you
dad.
talking about?
What do you...
I picture myself at like, what, I don't know, 20 years ago? That's crazy, bro. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm like, who was getting suckered into this?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, what? But I guess this is like this kind of person that they choose these people,
Yeah, I wonder... And he had just came out of prison, too? He was on...
He had just gotten out. So I
Yeah.
think there's a physical fear factor involved in this that they
Yeah.
kind of neglected for the first few episodes. I'm like, they're scared of this guy. This isn't normal that they're allowing him to run the place like this. I'm like, they're scared of him.
Yeah.
And then you start to see that he was physical with the guys and stuff. I'm like, yeah, he was scaring these guys. What do you got? Anything there? Is anybody in the chat?
I wanted to talk about the... because you were just reminding me about this show where...
But yeah, check out Stolen Youth. So far, so good.
Nothing in the chat, but I was looking up the name of the show that I'm thinking about. It looks like it's called The Program. And it's funny because it's not about a cult, but it's about a school where people send their badass kids to. It's funny because as I'm watching the show, I'm like, man, these people at these schools did some terrible things. And all the kids there, they're all adults now, and they're going back, and they're in this like abandoned building that was the school, and they're watching like videos of the teachers restraining students and things like that. And they're just talking about like all the terrible things that happened there. And how, they were abused like physically.
Yeah.
And I'm not done with the show yet, right? But
Is it like a docuseries or it's acted out?
No, it's a docuseries.
Okay.
And so you meet like the people who were previously students there, and they talk to the faculty and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, this is terrible. And I'm like, but I say to myself, I'm like, what kind of crazy things did these kids do that their parents were sending them there at like 12 years old? Like, because they were like troubled kids. And listen, I get it. I'm not saying that they're at fault, but I'm saying it's fun. It's just interesting how the show doesn't touch upon like anything that kids do to get there, but all the terrible things that happened while they were there, which is still not right. But I was telling my girl, I was like, there's some bad kids, It's like something happened that their parents sent them there.
Look, I'm going to tell you how I feel about that concept, and I don't know if you'll agree. We're both from a place where we knew bad kids.
Yeah.
Like real bad kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like real bad kids.
Yeah.
And what didn't any of them have
Parents.
that was going to send them away somewhere?
Yeah.
The worst kids I knew their parents were down with the shits.
That's a fact.
That's what it is. The parents, when the kid is that bad, like crimes, like felonies, like violent crimes, stealing, things like that, trafficking, drug trafficking, I mean, that kind of stuff, it's not typically a kid whose parents are going to send him away.
Well, I will say one thing. No matter what these kids did, they didn't deserve to be there. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes, and I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is, more so about the kids probably weren't that bad. I think it's more so these schools, these kind of programs, they prey on sheltered parents that think what's going on with their kid is crazy.
Yeah, but
they find a nickel bag in the wash and they're ready to send this kid to Rikers.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's why I'm so curious. I'm like, man, what did some of these kids do that their parents sent them here?
Probably normal kid adolescent stuff.
I wonder.
Probably late to school, disrespecting the teacher, talking back or something.
Nah, it's got to be a higher level than that. To send your kid to a boarding school.
Why wouldn't it be? And, bro, Paris Hilton got sent to a boarding school.
But not
and
because
she talks about the abuse at the school.
But probably not because she was a bad person, a kid. They probably felt that it was a better education. Like the reasons that she got, like these kids got sent there because of their poor behavior. It was a school that was designed to like break kids and like make them behave. And they had the craziest rules. Like you weren't allowed to have any like facial expressions. Like if you smiled, you got in trouble.
Wait, did they work on a point system?
Yes.
In order to get visits and stuff, and
In
get
order
to
to
go
get
home, like
bro,
for a
in order
weekend
to
trip?
get to leave, it was a point system.
Yeah, I heard
They
about
were like,
this.
if you smiled, you lose points. If you walk and you're walking on the wrong side of the hallway, lose points.
Wow. So you could inevitably set up the rules so that you can't really earn points. I'll just keep on taking points from you if I never want you to have anything good.
Yeah,
right?
You have to comply and you have to make it seem like you're running along with the program. So some of the students would say that, like one of the girls was like, I was never a bad kid. I didn't do drugs or anything like that, but they all thought I did drugs. So I had to tell them like, oh yeah, like I'm sorry for doing drugs and I shouldn't have done drugs. And she's like, I never even did drugs.
So they were kind of coercing.
They make you go along with their program, so that way because that's the only way to get out.
Yeah. Or so you think.
Yeah, I haven't finished watching it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I definitely wanted to check that out because I had a friend that was explaining the same thing to me about how, and I'm like, oh, this is making sense. And then they would contact the parents, right? And tell them, your kid has been lying and stuff. If they contact you with any kind of stuff about us, they're lying. Don't believe them.
Oh, all your letters get read before they go out. And if you write something crazy in your letters, like something negative about the institution, you lose points. And you get a letter saying that you have to like rewrite your letter because it doesn't meet certain criteria or that it violated certain rules.
So is there an age range of these kids? How old are these kids? Because I'm trying to think in my mind. I'm trying to conceptualize how I would respond. Because, 11-year-old me is going to respond very differently to 17-year-old me.
So the individuals in the show, a lot of them got there like 15. I felt like that was like the average. And some of them were there for like a couple of years. Some of them were there for a couple of months. But there was kids there of all ages. But of the individuals on the show, it says like so-and-so got there at 15 and stayed for, 62 months or whatever. That's not true, but so that's what I seen a lot, that the people got there like, 14, 15, 16-ish. And it's a school, so I guess they can't keep you like too long. Like they can't keep you past 18, I don't think.
I'm curious because do parents sign over like a temporary guardianship or something like that to the school, where the school is actually the main contact for if there's an emergency or something? Do they contact the school? Like the school is the one that's the surrogate making their decisions, or have you not gotten that far?
I haven't gotten that far. I'm at the point where there's a riot currently.
That's what I'm talking about.
There's a riot.
Bro, come on. The first thing I would do is make a set when I get over there.
Yeah,
imagine
100%.
if you and me were on the opposite side of like a dorm and I showed up and you were there. Yeah. I'd be like, I'm gonna talk to that guy. He's kind of tall.
Yeah.
Probably hold some weight in here. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you gotta do. You gotta get organized.
He's the only
immediately.
one with Birkenstocks on.
Yeah,
that
you
means
gotta-
he knows somebody. That means he gets some respect around here.
Yeah, no, you have to. You gotta get organized immediately. Instantly. Get organized. You know, get a hierarchy. But yeah, the show, that's what I'm watching on Netflix right now. It's pretty good. It's decent. Honestly, I really don't think there's that. I'm just watching that by default.
Yeah.
I want to watch that other show. It's like number one right now, even though I don't believe that ever is true. I know a couple years ago I said it on the podcast. It's good. Why would it not be true? I don't believe that shit. But whatever that show
Who
that's
told
number
you that
one
was bullshit?
about the family, whatever. I want to watch that, but I haven't got a chance to.
Who told you that top 10 was bullshit? Come on.
You know what's funny?
What? Talk to me. Come on. Talk
So
to the people.
I used to use my sister's Netflix account,
Okay.
and then one day when I got hit by that like Netflix no more sharing thing.
Yeah.
And I was forced to make my own Netflix account. I make my own Netflix account. Bro, the shows were on the top 10 was different.
There it is.
I was like, what the heck is this? And not only that, but if you guys have a Netflix account, cherish it. Because that account is curated for you. I had to start over, bro. I watched like a Disney movie at first. I watched not a Disney movie, but I watched like a kids movie at first. Dude, I get fed more anime than the average Japanese boy. They're just trying to force feed it to me. I'm like, dude, I watched one show. Cut it out, you know?
Right.
And now my new Netflix, it's not tight yet.
Yeah.
It's not tightened up to me.
But you'll get there.
I will. I spent years curating the last one.
So the top 10 was debunked when you started a new account after using your sister's, and you realized that the top 10, like in terms of they do that 1 through 10 as in what's the most popular right now on Netflix. And it was different than what your sister got.
Yeah. And it could have been that, like, you know, a couple days, because I waited a couple days before I made my own account, maybe even a week or so. But it was like dramatically different. I was like, man, this is all the Fugays. They put these on here.
I mean, if the
These
top
aren't
10
real.
is an Adam Sandler movie, number one, and then when you sign on to yours, number one is like Bride of Chucky, you know, come on.
I think that they just put the movies on there that they want people to watch, that they're pushing.
They put the movies on there that the studios or the production companies, whoever owns the licensing for that film, is paying them.
Yeah.
I think it's like the radio. You
Yeah,
pay for spins. Like you're going to pay to have your movie played.
Give me a counter. How many people are currently watching this?
Yeah.
You know, not that many people could possibly love or enjoy watching The Circle or, you know, Love is
Love
Blind.
Island or something like that. Or Love is Blind.
Yeah.
Give me
You
a
seen
break.
Love is Blind? Or did you hear
No,
about
I
it?
see the thumbnails all the time. And can we talk about that for a quick second?
Bro, there's a girl in Love is Blind. My shorty watched it. I caught the tail end of it. There was a girl who was in there
And
who was out there telling these dudes that she looked like, she says, everybody says I look like Megan Fox. Bro. Shorty did, first of all, there's like a million memes. The internet ate her up.
oh my God.
This guy decides to propose to this broad.
Okay.
And you could see it in his eyes when they meet each other, and she does not look like Megan Fox.
Oh, wait. So this is something where, this is Love is Blind, you're saying?
Love is Blind. You know what? You get for the people at home.
Now it's making sense because Love is Blind. I guess they're not meeting each other. It's like Blind Date used to be on TV back in the day.
They're living. Okay, damn, you don't know about this. All right, so Love is Blind is a show on Netflix for the people at home and for Justin. Love is Blind is a show on Netflix where the girls live in like an apartment and the boys live in an apartment, and then every day they meet each other and, you know, have conversations with each other through a wall. The gentlemen don't see the ladies don't see the gentlemen, and then at one point somebody will propose to the other person
Without ever having seen them.
without ever having seen them.
That's a wild gesture, my man.
And then they get to live together. They send them to like fucking Cuba, or they send them to a vacation for like a week or two, and then they give them an apartment in a state, and they live in that apartment, and then they have to go to the altar, and in that moment they say whether they're gonna follow through with the wedding. You know, it's super dramatic, or they don't. Either they say I do or they don't.
Oh, okay.
And that's the show.
So the proposal happens. They accept the proposal in the moment.
Yeah.
But then they, you know, when they're at the altar, they're like, skirt.
Some people say yes. Some people say no. Dude, these guys be bringing their whole families, having full-blown weddings at these circus events. Because that's what they are. This isn't real. I'm going to tell you as somebody who's been with somebody else for a very long time, that's not real. These guys don't know each other. These girls are crying and stuff. I love him. Impossible. It's insulting to anybody else who's ever been in a real relationship that you guys think that you love each other. You guys don't even know each other. You guys, at where they are in their point in their relationship, I was still lying to my girl. She didn't even really know who I was. I was way more jiggy in her mind than I really was in real life. She thought I was good at basketball.
Bro, at that point, nobody's even walked into the bathroom after the other one took a shit.
Yeah, dude, they're not even farting yet.
No.
They're not even farting in front of each other.
No. Not even close.
He hasn't even gone. They haven't even gone through like a hair cycle yet. He's never even seen the hair grow in and get shaved off. You know?
No, she just got like 6 consecutive laser treatments before they shot.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't lie. I'm a sucker for reality television. So when my girl puts it on, it sucks me right in. But I'm talking wild shit the whole time. I'm like, you guys are so dumb.
You're like, I can't believe this. Are you kidding me? Greg, again? Pfft, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, bro. It's just wild, too. It's like, even the guys, they're like, I don't know. It's just weird. But I get it. You know, our generation, or the people are we're at setting record levels of loneliness right now. Yeah. Like society.
Yeah.
Like for whatever reason, whatever's going on, we have the most exposure to each other. We have the, our ability to communicate with each other is at an all-time high. However, there's like a record. We're setting the record in loneliness right now. Like, I don't know why that is. Whether it be like, individuals' expectations being too high, certain, people's just being forced to work and not focus on, building relationships. I don't know what it is, but it is interesting.
I just had like a revelation, so I'm going to think this out loud real quick. As you're saying that, I'm wondering, and I'm like, the loneliness, the epidemic of loneliness. I'm like, okay, pretty much every endorphin that we kind of have, every kind of happy chemical, right, that gets released has a source, right? There's something. I'm going to fix that. You fix it. Happy, delight is like released in your brain. I feel like now there's kind of an artificial version of that. Now you can just watch somebody build that table on Instagram and you kind of get the same, like, oh, that was cool. Like that kind of thing. Like, I feel like there's just artificial replacements for things at this point, or maybe not anything to do with that, just something else. You get a like on there. That felt good. That felt good. So there's all these different things. And I'm feeling like now there's kind of replacements for that idea. Like digitally. You know what I'm saying? Like there's all these kind of supplemental things that give us these reward systems that only used to be from certain things, right? You get a reward from a relationship with a woman. You get a reward mentally, like kind of chemicals. You eat a good piece of food, you get a reward. But there's always been these artificial doses of it. And now there's the romantic artificial dose. Adult content is everywhere and all this. So now nobody needs to leave the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. Like, they're supplementing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're supplementing love.
Exactly.
Their love is being supplemented.
OnlyFans,
they have artificial love.
Subscribing, everything is artificial. And it's almost like even the relationship is artificial by people just investing so much in these reality shows. It's like a lot of people that are lonely at home, they're eating ice cream while they're watching 2 people fall in love on TV instead of them being involved in it. It's like the whole culture becomes voyeuristic at that point. You're just as satisfied, unconsciously, because your brain can't tell the difference, with other people living their lives than you yourself living your life, if that makes sense.
That's an interesting perspective. And I wonder, but what about, like, do people not, are relationships like more frowned upon now? Because I feel like we still go out You know, maybe not as much as we used to, but we still go out and we still desire to have like whether it, you know, not like only sexual, but we still desire relationships with other humans, don't we?
I think we do, but not everybody acknowledges it anymore because we supplement so much. You supplement with an online chat, playing a game, or texting. But that's not the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you and me sitting here talking is not the same that as if I was at home and we were doing this remote. It's not the same thing.
No.
That's why we're very conscious to commit to this and do this, because I could do this from home. We could figure out a way to do this smooth.
Yeah, dude, remember the COVID Chronicles?
Exactly. That's what everybody did.
Yeah.
You know,
Except
so
for us.
Yeah.
We just infected each other.
Exactly. We just, that's right. But, you know, so I think that, honestly, dude, I think if you could simulate the feeling you get when you eat, you know, like if you're hungry and you eat, I think if people could simulate that satisfaction,
Yeah.
they wouldn't eat. People would starve to death at their computers. People would starve to death in their car. People would, at their job. People wouldn't eat. They would supplement the food like fake brain chemical. Ooh, I just ate. That's honestly what I think. I think people would just not do anything.
I wonder, because the appetite suppressants exist.
And people utilize them.
They do. I'll
know?
be the first one to admit it. I like a good cup of coffee, not just because it makes me feel good, but I also know that I'm not going to have to eat after this.
You know?
I ain't going to be hungry.
No. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think that there's just so many supplemental ways to achieve that little endorphin hit that it's made people not pursue anything. Like I probably think there's a different kind of feeling you get when you see a view from a mountaintop. There's a different kind of feeling you get when you see your child born. These are all different brands of feel good. You know, when you get a good slice of pizza, it's different. It's not the same as your kid being born, but it feels good. But it's just a different spectrum of that feel good.
Yeah,
And
both things can feel good, yeah.
Exactly. And I think each one of those things is different in its own way. And we're starting to find ways to supplement all those different degrees of enjoyment or euphoria. Though as small as it is, we're finding little increments to kind of replace it in a way on our smartphones and in just the immediate world. And it's changing people's pursuit of shit.
But would people still be lonely if they were satisfying their desire for this endorphin?
Yeah, clearly. And I
Wouldn't
think
by
that's
definition they'd be fulfilled?
by definition they would, but again, there's this kind of innate biological thing. That's the gap between the digital world and the human world. The reason why myself and the guy I was talking about, Dave One Off Customs, that did the journal, we had a conversation about it, and it's about that's the difference, like why AI art will never be human art. You know, kind of no matter how much they refine it, there's always going to be something you can't, I don't know. Something's weird. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, just like when that lady boy knocks on your Uber window and you're like, nah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's weird here. I don't know what it is, but something's off.
Yeah. Why your knuckles look like that? Do you train?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, well, look up. I'm like, like what? Nah.
There it is.
Drive off. No, I'm just kidding. But, there's something biologically that's different. That's just what I think,
Yeah.
you know?
That's an interesting perspective.
I don't know. We're getting down the wormhole, but
Now we're getting deep.
yeah, we're getting deep. What time is it?
We're over the hour.
Oh, we are over the hour. What's up with the chat? Catch up with the chat before we get out of here.
And where's my... I know we definitely have topics that we didn't cover today. Last week and this week, next week, we got to be tight with the topics. Tight with the topics.
I mean, I got all mine.
Well, that doesn't make me feel good about myself when you say it like that.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? The people got to know. I think we covered them all. Oh, we want to talk about music. That's what we didn't talk about because we got off on this Love is Blind.
Who brought in the music topic?
I mean, I went music, but you went Boeing way before the music when Boeing was supposed to be after the music.
I apologize.
That's all right.
I wasn't fucking... I wasn't following the directory.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, just real quick, if you guys want to look, just go check it out. We won't talk about it now because we're past the hour. But that Cordae, Juice WRLD, and Eminem project, the Doomsday Part 1 and Part 2, that was directed by Cole Bennett, fire. It's on the Eminem Role Model beat. The one with the bubbling water, you know, like bloop, 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 bloop. You know, don't you want to grow up to be just like me? You know, that was crazy. And Cordae went off. And if you watch the video, just watch it. The Cordae and Juice WRLD back and forth on the video. It's
Super
crazy.
hard.
Yeah,
Super
jump into
hard.
Discord and let us know what you think about it because it has to go down. And also, J. Cole drops the volume 2 of I Might Delete This Later. So he's doing his crazy thing where he's releasing this kind of 11, 12-minute video. And it's backstage of him. Kind of, it looks like VHS, like it's shot. You know, it's cool. It's like docuseries type of thing. And it's him backstage on tour. It's also him in the studio making songs. And then in the middle, they cut to a music. It's a music video. And it's the same kind of style, but it's him performing what seems to be songs that are going to be on his up-and-coming album, which is the Fall Off.
Okay.
Which is going to be fire. So this is volume 2. This is the second one. The first one came out and it was fire. Of course, he's going in, but it's cool to watch him backstage, watch other rappers and celebrities talking about him at his show. It reminds me of Fade to Black in a way. It reminds me of Fade to Black when Jay-Z sold out the Garden and then they were interviewing Diddy and everybody, whoop, Diddy, you know, everybody else in the back that they were interviewing and stuff about it. It's cool. So if you check that out, it's dope. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to touch on that. Check those 2 things out, guys. Trust me, you will not regret it. And let us know in the Discord what you think. So that's it.
Definitely watch the music video. 1,000% recommend it.
Yeah, Berto watched. We watched it together when I got here.
Yeah.
It was fire.
Very, very good. And that's it. That's all I got.
That's it. Nothing else? What you got?
Mark Coleman.
Oh, we got to shout out a kind of a top, like the most. This right here is the definition of what duty, manliness, loving your family, protecting your family. This is exactly what it is. Completely personified. That's it. Mark Coleman. So Mark Coleman, for anybody that doesn't know, he's a former UFC fighter from back in the day. I'm talking about the 90s, the beginning of the UFC. He was in the video game for Dreamcast that I had. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So beginning of the UFC days. And he's, of course, he's older now, but he's still in you know, great shape. He's still huge, built like a brick shit house. And unfortunately, there was a fire in a residence where his parents were, as well as his dog. He goes in to the fire, saves his parents, saves both of their lives, attempts to save his dog. Unfortunately, his dog passed, but he is hospitalized for a smoke inhalation and being treated. But if there's ever been a more badass, you know, person or heroic undertaking to run into a burning structure
Yeah.
and save your parents,
Save both your parents, end up in a coma.
yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, so Mark Coleman, badass. I have no words.
Yeah.
I have no words.
So
So
salute to that man.
yeah, prayers to him and rest in peace to Hammer, his dog, Rottweiler, beautiful dog that he tried to save. I couldn't imagine, you know. So, you know, shout out to them. And that's what we got.
That's
You know, with that said, Mass and None Podcast, episode 192. Make sure you guys check out all of the audio versions of the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, wherever your little heart finds your favorite audio podcast. And if you don't find them on your favorite audio podcast platform,
Bring your little heart over to our Discord and harass us.
Yes.
Harass us until we place the podcast on your obscure podcast listening platform.
that's
And
right.
that's it. Join the Discord anyways, because I got feed pics there.
That's right. And also, you guys, I want you guys to let us know, drop your opinion down in the Discord regarding the J. Cole, the J. Cole video, the volume 2 of the I Might Delete This Later, as well as the Eminem, Cordae, and Juice WRLD video that was produced by Cole Bennett, because that thing is crazy.
Fuego.
You know, so that's what we got. And make sure you, on the way out, guys, please, if you could do us a favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode every time we go live. And stay tuned because we do have new stuff, cool stuff. I mean, maybe some real different stuff you guys weren't expecting. That's going to be coming up on the channel. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Follow us on all social media, and we out.
Birthday.